such as Slimy Skin or Pollywog, or likewise Uncle James, or Gape a Grin, or Toad Gone Wrong, or Billy Bandy Knees. The frog is justly sensitive to epithets like these.
Let's see. This is called A Fairy Went A-Marketing by Rose Fileman.
A fairy went a-marketing. She bought a little fish. She put it in a crystal bowl upon a golden dish. An hour she sat in wonderment and watched its silver gleam, and then she gently took it up and slipped it in the stream. A fairy went a-marketing. She bought a colored bird. It sang the sweetest, shrillest song that ever she had heard. She sat beside its painted cage and listened half the day, and then she opened wide the door and let it fly away. A fairy went a-marketing. She bought a winter gown, all stitched about with gossamer and lined with thistle down. She wore it all afternoon with prancing and delight, then gave it to a little frog to keep him warm at night. A fairy went a-marketing. She bought a gentle mouse to take her tiny messages, to keep her tiny house. All day she kept its busy feet pit-patting to and fro, and then she kissed its silken ears, thanked it, and let it go.
Okay. I Keep 3 Wishes Ready by Annette Wynne. Illustrations by Irving Leviton.
I keep 3 wishes ready, lest I should chance to meet any day a fairy coming down the street. I'd hate to have to stammer or have to think them out, for it's very hard to think things up when a fairy is about. And I'd hate to lose my wishes, for fairies fly away, and perhaps I'd never have a chance on any other day. So I keep 3 wishes ready, lest I should chance to meet any day a fairy coming down the street.
The Visitor. Okay, let's do this one. By Rachel Field.
Feather-footed and swift as a mouse, an elfin gentleman came to our house, knocked his wee brown knuckles on our door, bowed till his peaked cap swept the floor. His shiny eyes blinked bright at me. He asked for bread and a sup of tea. "And plenty of honey, please," he said, "for I'm fond of honey on my bread." Cross-legged he sat, with never a word, but the old black kettle sang like a bird. The red geranium burst in bloom, with a blaze of firelight in the room. The china rattled on every shelf, and the broom danced merrily all by itself. Quick to the pantry then I ran, for to serve that elfin gentleman. I brewed him tea, I brought him bread, with clover honey thickly spread. One sip he took, one elfin bite, but his ears they twitched with sheer delight. He smacked his lips, and he smiled at me. "May good luck follow you, child," he said. He circled me round with a gay green flame before he was off the way he came, leaving me there in the kitchen dim, sighing and staring after him. With the fire low and the tea grown cold, and the moon through the window sharp and old, only before me, instead of honey, that bread was golden with thick spread money.
Have You Watched the Fairies by Rose Fileman.
Have you watched the fairies when the rain is done, spreading out their little wings to drive them in the sun? I have. Isn't it fun? Have you heard the fairies all among the limes, singing little fairy tunes to little fairy rhymes? I have, lots and lots of times. Have you seen the fairies dancing in the air and dashing up behind the stairs to tidy up their hair? I have. I've been there.
Little Elf Man by John Kendrick Bangs. Illustration by Irving Leviton. I like this little illustration. Here you go. Okay.
I met a little elf man once, down where the lilies blow. I asked him why he was so small, and why he didn't grow. He slightly frowned, and with his eye he looked me through and through.
I'm just as big for me,
Said he,
as you are big for you.
The Fairies by William Allingham. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daren't go a-hunting for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. Down along the rocky shore, some make their home. They live on crispy pancakes of yellow tide foam. Some in the reeds of the black mountain lake, with frogs for their watchdogs, all night awake. High on the hilltop, the old king sits. He is now so old and grey, he's nigh lost his wits. With a bridge of white mist, Columkill he crosses on his stately journeys from Sleeve League to Ross's, or going up with music on cold starry nights to sup with the queen of the gay northern lights. They stole little Bridget for 7 years long. When she came down again, her friends were all gone. They took her lightly back between the night and morrow. They thought she was fast asleep, but she was dead with sorrow. They have kept her ever since, deep within the lake, on a bed of flag leaves, watching till she wakes. By the craggy hillside, through the mosses bare, they have planted thorn trees for pleasure here and there. Is any man so daring as dig them up in spite? He shall find the thorniest set in his bed at night. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daren't go a-hunting for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. City Streets and Country Roads by Eleanor Farjeon. Illustration by William Colliers.
The city has streets, but the country has roads. In the country one meets blue carts with their loads of sweet-smelling hay and mangolds and grain. Oh, take me away to the country again. In the city one sees big trams rattle by, and the breath of the chimneys that blot out the sky. And all down the pavements stiff lampposts one sees. But the country has hedgerows, the country has trees. As sweet as the sun, in the country is rain. Oh, take me away to the country again.
Okay, this is called Taking Off by Anonymous.
The airplane taxis down the field and heads into the breeze. It lifts its wheels above the ground and skims above the trees. It rises high and higher, away up toward the sun. It's just a speck against the sky, and now it is gone.
Butterfly by Hilda Conkling. Illustrations by George J. Riley. As I walked through my garden, I saw a butterfly light on a flower. His wings were pink and purple. He spoke a small word. It was follow. I cannot follow, I told him. I have to go the opposite way. This is called The Frog by Hilaire Belloc, illustration by George Riley, if you could see it.
Be kind and tender to the frog, and don't call him names such as Slimy Skin or Pollywog, or likewise Uncle James, or Gape a Grin, or Toad Gone Wrong, or Billy Bandy Knees. The frog is justly sensitive to epithets like these. No animal will more repay a treatment kind and fair, at least so lonely people say, who keep a frog. And by the way, they're extremely rare.
Stop and Go by Dorothy Baruch, illustration by George J. Riley. Automobiles in a row wait to go while the signal says stop. Bells ring, ting-a-ling, red lights gone, green lights on, horns blow, and the row starts to go.
He hasn't got any hind legs,
He called out